Getting everything situated, making sure we straight. Man, what a crazy 24 hours, huh? This content creation stuff, I noticed that if you just kind of do your thing and keep your finger on the pulse, things just so happen to come about. And you never know. There's one thing I really like about it is you never know what tomorrow brings. That's the super dope stuff. And I like stuff like that. What up, Core? What up, Element? Antonio Camacho in the building. Manuel Garcia, Trevin Evans, I see ya. What up, what up? Ray, what it is? Karma in the building. Let me get a hug is in the building. Dímelo, Antonio, dímelo. 2K never let you down. Do they all about that money? Can you blame them? You know, so one of the things that, we was talking about in the space, yeah. What up, Rose? Was good. We was talking about this stuff in the space, in the Twitter space, and we had some heavy hitters in there. Salute to the folks that came through. We covered a lot of different topics, man. It was super dope. Everybody, what up, Bori? Was good. Theo was good. Mr. Pro Ghostly. Like, we know 2K, they're business, so they're gonna do their thing. You feel what I'm saying? OG in the building, 125 in the chat. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing, as we have a huge goal to hit 100K. From what I understand, this process that I'm taking on is supposed to like not serve as beneficial. At least that's what folks think. 2K, yeah, hey, 2K is a business, man. It's what they do. It's exactly what we would expect or hope to aspire to if we were starting a business. So I don't knock them for doing what they got to do. But what do we got to do? We're not responsible for 2K and their conduct or lack thereof. We responsible for our conduct, though, right? We responsible for our joint, though, right? And then, like I was seeing in the Twitter space last night, we don't even realize we doing the stuff. Like, we don't even realize we spending the money. I think damn near everybody's reaction was, hold on, let me check what I spent. It's not you knew what you spent. It's, hold on, I got to check what I spent. And I'm not knocking nobody, because you already know I was on this. That's why I'm doing this, because I was on the same boat. You opened a lot of eyes, City. I appreciate you for doing that. I didn't know how much I spent until you brought it up. I spent just under 300. Salute to you, Ray. Salute to you. We gotta, all right, so I'll give you guys for instance, we could make this like the topic here, because throughout all this debating and talking about 2K in the Twitter spaces last night, one great idea came up, and that was 2K offering the respec option. And for the folks that don't know what highway robbery for real, you won't let nobody run your pockets right in front of you, right? At least I know half of y'all won't. You won't let nobody come right up on you and just tap your pockets. Anyway, one of the resolutions, or at least compromises, we came to the idea of allowing players to respec their bills at least once a year, at the very least. I said I think the 2K community would be happy with just getting it once. Other folks mentioned having it twice, so I said they'd be ecstatic getting it twice. Forget about it. 2 times a year is a respec option. And I thought that was a legitimate compromise, because 2K is definitely dropping more than 2 patches a year. So there's, And 2K has already acknowledged from the development team, they have already acknowledged that if they touch one area of the game inadvertently, it may affect another area of the game. So what I'm getting at is if they know when they touch this, it has the capacity to affect that, then if they were being legitimate business owners, if they were running a legitimate business, naturally for your consumers, you would say, well, at least 2 times a year because we keep putting this thing through different changes. Top 10 Legend Prize is a respec. Imagine. I could see them doing that, though. I could definitely see them doing that. The top 10 prize is a respec. To be honest, I never spent money. So we was talking about that as well because, you know, for the folks that never spent money, you guys are on a different wavelength. Even if you haven't spent money like in the last 5 years, you guys are on a different wavelength. What I mean by that is this joint year by year has increasingly got worse. And I'm talking about the community willing to spend money. And I think we're at a pivotal moment now because of 2K trying to get even more money. So we already went through the next gen transition, the cost for our console, plus the 2K led the way increase to $70 from $60, making games $70 when they're normally $60 and have been $60 for a while. It's just a lot to think about, a lot to digest. Yo, City, I'm not spending money like this no more on 2K, as is a lot of people. And we just didn't realize it. That's the crazy part. So that's what I found the most craziest, that we didn't realize it. Ain't nobody see it coming. Stacy, appreciate the sub. Please help us get those subscribers up. We really want to hit that 100K this year. Don hit me up and said I should run a check from all the previous years because PlayStation lets you go pretty far back in your transactions, which I'm going to add to this whole research. We'll add this. We'll put this. This thing is going to end up probably like a book by the end of the year. Folks think that this thing is going to really affect my growth and affect my channel. What do y'all think about that? It's interesting because I felt so passionately about it that I almost forgot about 100K. I said, well, this got to be done. I saw Osmond Gold, Angry Joe do that. I said, yo, no, this got to be done. And I kind of just slipped my mind until they brought it up I think it was in the Twitter Spaces they brought it up. Or somebody said it on yesterday's stream. That's how it is when you feel passionate about something like that. The community is stupid. If everybody goes on strike and doesn't buy VC, they'll get it. The consumer hold the power. I love the energy. I love the thought. But there's a process to that. So realistically, that's, to me, and I say this with all due respect, that's just talking because it's not a realistic turnaround, especially between now and release date. So that's, to me, is just talking. We need action. And it's not, again, like I said, not a fight. I'm not trying to lead the way. Nah, it's not going down. I'm trying to have fun playing 2K24. The reality is if you did slow down, if everybody slowed down their VC spending or stopped their VC spending, brought 2K to their knees, we'd win. That's the reality. The likelihood is what we got to consider. And it has slim to no odds of that happening, at least this year. So this year is what we got to consider. And how do you go about creating a change just year by year? 2K gets bigger and stronger year by year. But with that, the player base is year by year growing. 23 being the most played 2K, at least as per some of the next makers. So when 2K grows, the community grows. Everybody should just make one build. One of the things that we thought one of the things we talk about was a respec option, and the homie Jay Easy brought up the idea of, how about this? And I have to say it on stream, y'all. What up, folks? I have to say this on stream real quick. I was just reading one of the comments. it's Jay-Z's the homie. I ain't even gonna front. Jay-Z, it was great to have him in there and share some of the things that he had to say. I don't know if one of the questions that Jay-Z had was the idea of folks rushing to get out there. Where did this culture develop that we just rushing to get out there? Keenan, I'm about to buy some Take Two stocks, as is a lot of people. That's probably a smart move to do right now. Folks be rushing to go, they be having 20%, 20 win percentages, rushing to go take L's. Excuse me, that's exactly what I'm talking about right there, Rolo. 2K has conditioned us to spend money without realizing it at all, bro. Then we forced to play a game we invested in, and when we unhappy with the game. What up, Jesus? Billy T. Salute to y'all, man. We'll keep this thing rolling. I'm going to pay attention to the comments because I'll end up going off, and I think I spoke enough. Normally in my day-to-day, I don't speak much. But when I get up on stream, you know, I'm going to get to talking about the things I feel passionate about with 2K. Or we hosting an event like a Twitter space, of course, I'm going to get to talking. But that's just due to the passion. So we finna get to the comments, and let's let y'all run this thing. So you could drop your comments, and I'll try and answer them as best I can. You got questions about how I intend to do this no money spent grind for 2K24, I'll do my best to answer them. Or if you just want to talk 2K, we talk 2K. See Coaster in the building. I'm okay with the season pass and all they doing if the game was free to get. Is that a fair compromise? If the game was free to play, if it was a free to play game, would that be a fair compromise with 2K's aggression and microtransactions? Do you remember that it was just like a week or two ago that I was saying 2K is knowingly taking a 7% or acknowledging that they're going to receive a 7% decline in consumer sales for the first quarter? One of the things that the homie Jay-Z mentioned, my content nowadays revolves all around buying bills, etc. for content. Nice. We keep going over. I keep reading the comments and going over Jay-Z's joint. How do you feel about Double H no money spent run? I didn't know Double H did a no money spent run. I saw since he gave the post of what but I didn't realize it when it was done. So I thought it was pretty dope. I don't think it was an entire annual cycle. And this is the difference here, yeah. Because I considered the idea crossed my mind initially, just do it for a short stint. But I feel like you can't gather the data that we need as a reference point, especially when the game changes so drastically from like 1 month to the next or one patch to the next. So we can't really get the data we need from a short period of time. I think it has to, because the annual cycle is already a short period of time that we're trying to cram all this data. I think it has to be an annual cycle because there's things that weigh on you. And that's where I'm taking it from. I'm trying to, when I'm walking into this thing, I'm imagining those times when I feel like quitting. I'm imagining over the last 3 years that I wanted to delete 2K even when I was buying boosts and my player was at its max potential. So I'm expecting those feelings to be amplified attempting to do this without buying boosts or without paying to upgrade my build. I'm expecting all those feelings to be amplified. And I'm wondering if they're not, all this stuff just needs to be documented. I'm wondering if they are going to get amplified, how much they're going to get amplified. The pressures from the community where you're missing your shots and how they react to you. There's so many psychological ramifications because the reason why I'm interested in it, the main reason why I'm interested in it is because there had to be some type of psychological effect that happened that allowed me to spend that money without realizing it. Because this is not how I operate on a daily basis. This is not how I operate in my day-to-day life. So there had to be some psychological effects that was taking place. And I'm not trying to be weird here. I'm not trying to say that we're being brainwashed. And there's an actual effort into brainwashing us. I just think that's naturally how things go. And this goes, way bigger than 2K. You walk outside, you see advertisements. It's just how we're conditioned. And I think there is a certain level of conditioning based around business, a natural way of business that allows us to get on a form of entertainment and pay whatever without realizing it. Even if you don't like the entertainment you're receiving, you'll still pay. Is that not crazy? Is that not like the craziest thing? Don't get me wrong. If you got it like that, you're not paying attention. You're like, whatever. I'm just passing time. If you're just paid out there, you're just like, what's that to me? What's a rack to me? You don't even consider a rack. There'll never come a point in time in my life that I would never consider a rack. Some people are just built differently. Some people blow money and they have the mentality, I'm going to make it right back. If you're thinking along the lines of wealth, you're going to consider every dollar. Because wealth lasts generations. So, a lot to digest and a lot I want to learn during this process. It's just a lot I want to learn. Oh, City, I feel like this problem will take a long time to fix because us creators spend a lot of money on content and think of buying bills as an investment because they make a profit. Well, I'm gonna, and I say this with all due respect. I was listening to Uncle Demi talk. 2K doesn't count creators, what creators are to 2K. What every single person who watches YouTube, what they are to 2K, the business. I think we have a misconception. This is the problem here, y'all. And maybe if we could come to a consensus with this understanding, and this is straight out of Uncle Demi. And it's good to get a little insight like this, and it's understandable when you consider how large 2K really is. They don't see us, man. Gameplay changes is understandable, but when you're talking about finances, they ain't seeing no YouTube. Content creators can make whatever they want. We make up such a small portion of the 2K player base. And that's what folks, and I get it. It's difficult to understand. It's difficult to accept that, especially as a creator. If you got millions of subscribers, that's hella difficult to understand. But in 2K's logic, the business side of things, we're minuscule. And if we get more people to understand that, it's like, oh, that's why. Yeah, because there's a ton of people in different countries and all this that ain't going to YouTube. Not everybody who plays 2K goes online to follow a creator. So, these are the realities of it. And that when we get that scope, and that's why I'm saying I'm not naive going into this process. I'm doing this. I'm dead serious. Yeah. Think of a deeper level. Think of like think of a college student who's intending to become a game developer, or he's trying to get a doctorate in something, and he finds a company that the player base feels taken advantage of, that kind of is aggressive in their microtransactions. So he's in school, and now he considers writing his dissertation on this company. And now is forever done. Now this is forever documented. So that's the mind state that I'm taking it under. I'm taking it under that type of mind state, yeah. Because I know it's not going to have an impact now, but I'm thinking the much larger scale that gets into the business size of things, because 2K the business and 2K development are completely separate. The problem that I mainly have is that 2K the business has influenced and affected gameplay development to encourage us to pay more money. And that's the fact. And I'm just like, well, how do we tackle that concept? Like, what do we got to do to go in and tackle that concept? How do you even wrestle with it? How do you even find it to wrestle with it? These are the things that I hope get answered by the end of this year. You feel what I'm saying? $19.99 from Swag. I appreciate the super chat. He said, I think more realistic option is for 2K community YouTubers to limit their microtransactions to 200 for 2K24. Then for 2K25, limit it to 150, so on and so forth. I think there's a more realistic option. And that's kind of like in the, considering reality and then knowing the community you're a part of. I know the 2K community that I'm a part of. And I say, when I ask myself the question, is it possible to get everybody to stop spending money on VC? I think something really worldly dramatic would have to take place for us to stop spending money on VC. 2K would have to collapse. Another competitor has to come on. Something really huge would have to happen for that consideration to even take place. So I said, okay, next step, because that's not a likelihood this year. So next step, what can we accomplish this year that'll lead to that end goal of a content creator or even just a player spending less money? And that's the process we're in right now. It's like, at the very least, whatever you select to pursue, you got to make sure it kind of leads toward this idea, because this idea is where the power starts and ends with if we spending money. So I understand that it takes little things like this, like the homie said, if there could be a movement in 2K that says nothing above 250, you get what I'm saying? A movement which creators could help with, at least in our small portion of the 2K world, we could kind of affect this, and hopefully somebody picks it up on that side and then they start spreading the word. But again, that's a process. That's a long process. But the idea of even putting that out there, putting that into the air, only 250 spent, nothing more than 250. That's a stepping stone. And I think that's a good thing, man. And I feel it. Jason Battle said 250 is too much, dog. And I feel it all the way. This is facts. We in the community have make 2K change. It's possible, but the process it'll take. It's definitely possible. I don't discredit the idea that it is possible. But because of the lack of organization, official organization, just the idea of being able to think of the idea of trying to bring every single creator together to even talk about it. How challenging that would be. And that's just every 2K creator, let alone every player on 2K. What I'm saying is that we're not in agreement, and we don't need to be. It ain't like we need to be in agreement. Folks get money. They want to spend money. That's what they do. And that's the other side of the argument that we got to consider, even though we feel strongly. Some of us feel strongly. I feel strongly now. At least I know I'm never going to spend that much money again. There's other folks who want to spend the money. Who are we to say what? Do you get what I mean to say? And I know that's what folks be thinking. It's an elitist type of mind state, but we know there's elitist, capitalistic folks. Because they got it like that. They have to think differently. 2K out here hustling micros, and they doing a great job at it. So for instance, like I get, as a consumer, you get bothered, but from a business mindset, you're like, gee, man, 2K is a G in the business. Debo. So definitely interesting. Well, try has must be shame. Did I miss that $4.99? Did I? Oh yeah, I did read it. I thought I missed it. I'm only spending 50 this year. That's interesting. What up, Mr. Wright? What's good, family? Really appreciate how you keep it real and you actually care about it. As people that work hard trying to make it one day at a time. Facts. Yeah, we all been there, man. I used to hate my commute. I used to hate commuting every day. The obligation, knowing that you're traveling for 2 hours out of your day and then working anywhere from 8 to 10. So I used to really that bothered me and it took its toll on me. So, you're hard working out there and you think you come back, you play 2K. Some folks don't care about spending the money. That's their leisure time. But then you got the other folks that are like, damn, I'm getting beat in the head here too. Like this is my kickback time and I'm gonna get beat in the head now too. How fast do you plan on hitting 99 without spending any money? For me, it's not a race. And it can't be a race for me. I don't want to make it a race. I'll tell you why as well, because like I said in the beginning, there's so many other things that I'm going to be looking at during this process because I'm thinking of it more as a research. What I'm attempting to do is a research into a 2K, finding out its pay to win mechanics, and I might stay a while on that. And I might want to know what this pay to win mechanic looks like for a 75 overall. Definitely a lot of things to consider during this little journey. But I'm all at the end result is that we have a lot of answers to things that haven't been answered up until then. The next gen trailer is the week of the 28th. They said rep won't get reset, only seasons. Oh yeah, your rep won't get reset with the seasons. Right. Did they say that? What advice? Are they gonna put us in the same overalls in rec, or it's just random? I'm not exactly sure. They haven't specified yet. I imagine it's gonna be something similar. They may add. I know the community been calling for rec squads and rec randoms, so I could see them adding that. Rather put that money towards other good games coming out this year. I wish more players. That brings us to another thing. I wish more players would venture out into more 2K players would venture out into different games. I tried it, but I was stuck in this bubble for a long time. And so I got kind of sick of the bubble. And I think it started maybe around 2K21. I got sick of the bubble because I know I deleted 2K21 like a couple times over. So then I started venturing out playing different games. And when you do, it's like, wow, you see there's a whole different world out there. A lot of 2K players, we stay in our bubble, man. You only play 2K or Madden. You sports gamers, and I get it. There's a reason you like sports, and that's why you play sports gaming. But I want to add to that sports gaming, you as a player, if you're making a lot of microtransactions, then you're helping to lead the way for whatever else is going to happen in the gaming industry, because sports gaming is leading the way in how much they milk their player base. So, again, these little things, you're like, if I just had this knowledge, hopefully you could consider at least the next time you spend the dollars, like, do I really need it right now? Let me wait another week. And that's huge. That's a huge step where if you normally would have just paid that money. Trevin Evans said, my girl buy $4.99 super chat. Appreciate you, Trevin Evans. Bars. My girl buy 2K for me every year for my birthday, September 7th. So I usually spend like no more than $80 on VC, and I never buy Boost or Gatorade. And you see this, they tapping into sports fans' competitive nature. Thank you for saying that. Heck, that's facts. They are tapping into your competitive nature. They found that missing link, and they put the piece to the puzzle together, and now it's GG. Now you spending. To what the homie said about never buying Gatorade and Boost is different. This is what I'm trying to stress this here, y'all. The reason why it's important to me, this whole process, is because what 2K has grown into is grown into a place where there's this large portion of the community that's quick to spend that money. And we don't think twice. If we got it, it's spent. You could have $110, you're spending $100 on VC. It's sick. But in this moment now, so what I mean to say, if you're like an offline player or you just never buy boosts, it's this process doesn't seem as difficult. It's just like, well, that's what I do every year. But there's a mind state that has been developed amongst these players who are so easily inclined to pay that dollar. And that's what I'm trying to tap into. That's why it's important to me. Because like I said, there's some psychological effect that's happening that we say, nah, where you haven't been affected by this type of conditioning and you say, I don't spend. You're probably an offline player. Because it's the pressures from the community that you get where you hear that your butt cheeks about 150 times because you don't got no boost or you can't hit no shots or, you're not moving as fast or whatnot. Everybody knows that this year, especially, you get boosts. When you don't have boosts, it's easily noticeable. So this is why everybody tries to stay boosted up on 2K. So it's those pressures that keep you going. If you're an offline player, you don't even experience those pressures. This is why I was able to enjoy my team, because I tried it 2 years ago and I wasn't interested in going online. But that was mainly because the rumors already spread heavy that my team is the moneymaker for 2K. So if I feel like my career is aggressive, I'm definitely not going online. But what I mean to say is my offline experience, I enjoyed it. I said, yo, for my team, this was new. It was refreshing, little challenges here and there, triple threat. So, I just enjoyed it. And I'm wondering if maybe we get ahead of ourselves and, whoa, we just zoned out. I can't wait to see AC in the rec with a player rate at 65. If we make that happen, it's going to be with I have great teammates. So I honestly believe I could bring a 65 out there and be straight. I won't even be a liability. I probably won't even be the liability. Oh, the homie does. Trevin Evans says he plays online. So when folks say, like, I'll give you, for instance, when folks... So, like, we got competitive levels within our Discord. We got the lunatics, and then we got the maniacs. And then we got, like, the standard Discord of players. I tell you this. As of 2K23, like, while I was playing, if somebody came in while we're looking for players and we're running 10s or trying to line it up, if somebody came in and said, hey, and I'm this just keeping a buck with y'all, so y'all understand the mind state. We're trying to run 10s. We know what 10s are. We got a lot of people. This happens often. And we're trying to put together the teams. And the homie just comes out saying, hey, yeah, I got my build. He's a 91 overall. But I don't use boost. Yeah, I'm not using no boost. The culture, what is 2K, or at least our little corner of the world on 2K, sorry, homie, you're not getting picked up. Because we've come to learn what no boost looks like out there. We come to learn the maximum potential of a no boost player. And I'm sorry, but it just doesn't add up to a player who's elite. If you take two elite players, respect in their own right. One has boost, one doesn't. The dude with boost is going to get the edge. So we kind of learned throughout all this playing time that there's a max potential. There's a cap on what you can do without boost. Not to say you're not going to have some great plays, but there's going to be a lot of messed up ones is what we're getting at. And nobody wants to be put at that disadvantage. And that's what I'm trying to tap into, y'all. That mentality of, damn, you don't want to be put at that disadvantage, even if it means that you're going to be paying $1,000 per build in 5 years. So, yeah, hopefully you guys, well, as I'm talking here, hopefully you guys get how deep I'm trying to. It's really just not about a no money spent playthrough. I'm not trying to be serious about it, But along the way, like a diary, a 2K diary, I'm going to be writing how my day went. This way I have the documentation. It's going to be a process. So I'm going to be writing that I felt like this day, a straight 2K diary. Because I need to be able to revert back and then relate that to each season. See if there's a process with seasons. Like they know the sliders go this way in each season. So this is why this documentation is going to be huge. Because I'll be able to look back and say, yo, I was really upset in season 1. But in season 3, I was good each day. Spent 2 hours. I got from 65 to 67. You know, something along those lines is what I'm thinking. I'm a boost player and I spin the block all day. There you go. So we aren't buying boosts. I mean, hey, that's on y'all. If y'all support it, I'm cool with just y'all verbal support or whatever. You know, I'm definitely cool with that. I know it's a struggle, so I'm not even trying to put that on anybody, but the more the merrier. The more the better. Because you guys could tweet me and tell me what you experienced so I could see if I need to add that into this 2K24 diary. $2K hold the patent on microtransactions that analyze people. I saw that. That's big facts. I'm glad you know about that. Interesting stuff. I wish people knew because of the nostalgia. Most people have been playing since they were kids. If the kids, that's unfortunately, City, we played 2K because of the nostalgia. Most people been playing since they were kids. If the kids can't afford it now, where's the nostalgia going to be in 5 years? This is facts. 2K no longer has nostalgia. What I mean to say, hold on, excuse me, that was all messed up. I feel like the current iterations of 2K, and maybe that's just me disconnected from the mindset of folks who play now, but I feel like at least the last 21 to 23, they've lost the ability to recreate nostalgia. Ironically, 20, people still look back on. And some people feel like we're always going to look back. That's just the nature. But I doubt when we're speaking in the future of some of the best games, it's going to be 20. I don't think 21, 22, or 23 will be mentioned. But ironically, 20 will still be there. So I think it's a very real experience that we're having now. And if they continue down this road, this is why I thought of that Goodfellas analogy. Because although we don't know what 24 is going to be, maybe it is going to be amazing. Hopefully, that could be the next year installment. Like we had 19, 20, 16, 17, you know, before then as well. But I just mean to say, hopefully 24 is that next one that we could recreate nostalgia. Hoax. Isn't it ironic? Hold on, what the homie say? The 2K Foundation is all about the children, but those children can't afford to play their game. It's like a win-win for 2K because the grind makes you stay on longer, which boosts the numbers for the player base whenever they're trying to get leverage in those backroom meetings. So they increase the grind, give you less VC in return, extends the grind even further. And, you know, it's either time or money, and both are just as valuable to 2K. I'm all for the NMS. Appreciate you, JT William. Yeah, man. You know, it is, like I said, although I know it's going to be challenging, but it's not challenging to the point that I would worry about caving in. I may joke around about it. I could imagine joking around about it. But I have so many questions that I want answered that's what's going to keep me motivated throughout the year. Like really finding that answer. Pushing myself to a limit of being tired and exhausted to see how I feel then. Because back then, even when I was, you know, NBA 2K20 days, when I was tired and exhausted, all I did was lean my chair back and get ready for a long gaming session. So It's very different now that when you're on 2K, if you're tired and exhausted, you turning off the game. Jesus said, I can't lie though. I spent maybe 120 total on VC in 23. I would do the daily quest for 2,000 VC a day. I had 7 bills, 14 VC a day, plus what I got from MVP of the city. So I always had a plus. And that's pretty dope. And that's dope. And this is part of the challenge for me, is that I'm not my career player, yeah. And some folks say, well, I still played online, and I get it. You still played online, but not nearly as much as an online player. Hopefully you guys get what I'm saying by that. You see, the people that we normally run with, when we turn on 2K, it's to get online. Go into the rec, go into Pro-Am, Park, whatever respective. Else we ain't turning on 2K or lab it up for a bit just to practice a new dribble move or shot. And that's probably the most challenging thing. Folks see you online, they're expecting a run. And the most challenging thing for me is taking somebody who has been conditioned in that mindset and trying to put them in a mindset of play the game. Forget about online. Play the game. Whether it brings you online or it leads you offline, try something new. I'm gonna say, and I'm the wrong person to do that because I despise my career. Even I'm like clenching my jaw just thinking about the process. But it's gonna be a process that has to be done. It's gonna be a process that has to be done. Jesus, that's going to be crazy, man. At this rate, 2K gonna kill a big majority of their community. So for the folks that think along those lines, and I'll kind of rebuttal that, because like I said earlier, we're losing. If we could really lock in on how big 2K is, then you'll know. That's like saying the NBA is going to collapse. And this is what I'm trying. In regards to gaming, it's like saying, well, the NBA is going to lose all their, their fans. You get what I'm saying? That it's highly unlikely. That's highly unlikely. 2K23 was built for casuals and had the largest player base than any 2K in history. At least that's what some people affiliated with 2K believe. So that means that there was a lot of casuals getting on the game. When it's free, that just opens the door for a ton more players to get on the game. The reason why it's free, 2K is not doing you no favors. 2K it's already been proven that 2K's microtransactions outweigh the revenue they make for unit sales. So when they make it free, that's by design, because they get a good majority of their revenue through microtransactions. So they need you to get on the game. If you weren't on the game yet, here, take it for free. Just get on so we can force you, put you down this rabbit hole and start the process of conditioning to get you to buy some. I wish I knew the percentages of the folks who get on, and I know they got that because there has to be a conversion. So I imagine their goal was to create a conversion, and there has to be data for that. Then we could all have fun. They could get their bread and we don't feel forced to buy VC. I think I missed the first part of that. Shakedown dropped a new video. Salute to Shakedown, man. I really like Shakedown. And Jairus Twin was in the... Jairus Twin is in the Next Maker as well. He was in the Twitter space last night. He had a lot to say. He kept it a buck, which was pretty dope. He kept it an all the way stack. Yeah, go check out Jairus Twin, Verde Gang. Super dope to have him in there and get his feedback. 2K has become a yearly bill you have to pay. Yeah, and you don't have to pay it. And that's part of what we're gonna find out. I know what folks mean though. I get it. I hate that I'm even saying that now, because I hated receiving that answer. Whenever I would have a complaint, folks would just type in the comments, well, just don't buy it. And I'm like, the first thought is, I know that, idiot. Like I'm grown. I know, just don't buy it. But it's not that simple because there's psychological ramifications to this thing. There was a psychological conditioning that keeps me on the game. I'm not going out playing ball IRL, so I live vicariously and get my basketball experience through 2K. So, you know, there's so many other things to consider in that way. It was dope to have a next maker there being open. Yeah, facts. It was dope. Make 2K free. Do you guys think it's possible that 2K would be free? Do you think that that's a possibility? Especially with everything I just said, considering the idea that it is free at Christmas, considering the idea that 2K makes way more revenue with microtransactions than they do with unit sales. Taking those things into consideration, do you think 2K would eventually make the game free to play? Cora said no. It's serious when content creators outside of 2K is talking about the issue. Say it again, Ray. Say it again. Certified Gold said they can make the theater free to play with preset bills for people. That's not a bad idea. Those are fair compromises right there. It's not a bad idea. Somebody said 2K will never be free because there's no competition. But 2K is competing with themselves every year. $4.99 from Abio. Let me see what he said here. Let me make sure. A bio done the lion. I don't know. Maybe that's somebody I don't know. The only way to create nostalgia is to innovate and create a new experience. That's hella interesting. Because that's one of my arguments is that 2K has the capacity to lead the way in innovation. And I mean by light years, it feels like. And we're just like a step ahead. Sometimes, I know oftentimes on 2K, I feel like we wasn't even on a next gen console. Especially when you get out there and explore other games and you see how breathtaking they are. You look at 2K, it's like, no way. Next gen? I appreciate you, Clinton, of the content for the help with these crazy bills. Yeah, for sure. We're still going to do the same thing for 2K24, but I'm going to do it from a different perspective. We're going to know everything we need to know about badges. We're going to know everything we need to know about animations and bills. This is why it's good to keep your finger on the pulse. Why we have our Discord community is because I'll still be getting loads of information, even if it's not through my experience, because my experience is going to be slowed down. So with that, we'll get those loads of information and still present them here on the channel. Badge information, jump shot information. You guys know that I'm affiliated with 2K Labs. And if you want 20% off their premium membership, you could use promo code AllCity. Save yourself 20% if you want to get great jump shot information now. And I'm sure the process is going to be there for 2K24. It's a great service. I just like 2K Labs, and I don't affiliate myself with anybody. There's been plenty of people who have DM'd me. I got this type of service. I got that type. Sorry, bro. I can't. If you don't got no references, I can't help push that. Because I'm not going to take the heat when the homie said, I saw you say, go over here. They're going to come at my head. Nah, it's not going down. It's, you know, this platform is built on integrity. So for the price we paying, bills should be fully customizable with everything available at launch. Paying for cosmetics and clothes is good. And there's, you know what, paying for cosmetics and clothes, because I had asked the homies in Discord if they could send me some images of some of the most expensive items and swags. And I thought of this because 2K for the $20 season pass is offering you an instant 15K. So instantly, as soon as you get the pass, you'll get 15K added to your account. So the reward one of the rewards that you get that's considered an incentive, an additional incentive, because it's one more season pass reward. In the pro version, you get 4 season pass rewards. And I hope you guys understand the differences. There's the season the the track, and then there's these additional season rewards. When you get the pro version, you get 4 of those. When you get the Hall of Fame version, you get 5 of those. So they put 15K as an incentive for the Hall of Fame pack, the most expensive version. As an incentive, they had the nerve to put that in there. So I asked the homies to send me it, some images from Swags, because I deleted 2K23. So they sent me some images from Swags, and they had like Crocs for like 20K, the bubble jacket like 25. So you telling me the incentive that you're offering me to pay $20 for a season pass, that 15K can't even get me a pair of Crocs? the joint is almost badge plug in here. Yeah, get badge plug. I would love to hear what badge has to say. So yes, so some things to think about, man, because this joint is so overly aggressive, it's almost humorous. There's no competitor to them in basketball world, so they will keep doing. And this is the obvious stuff. I mean, I think 1 out of every 10 people, and I'm not trying to be bothered. I get that maybe you're just at the place of saying that's because there's no competition. But we done been over there's no competition 1,000 times. I've explained exactly why there's no competition, what happened to EA. I've explained that multiple times over, why they got disbanded, who disbanded them. The reason why we don't have no NBA Live. There's a lot of politics. You know, if you watch the House of Cards, there's a lot of politics that's taking place for 2K to have even put themselves in a position to corner the market well enough that there is no competition, because in no other business is there no competition. It's very difficult to corner a market. If someone comes up, 2K will mess around and buy them before they let them compete. And just roll them. If there's any competitors, I imagine 2K will purchase them first before they even allow another competitor to come up and take a piece of that pie. Convert that 15K VC to real money, and you're able to buy a pair of Crocs. Ours are cheaper. Real life ones are cheaper. 2K Debo Live. Bro, the clothes should be 4 times cheaper. Facts. And that's why, I thought it was important for me to bring that up, because I'm like, damn, they're asking you for $20. They're using this little icon as the VC, 15K VC icon, as an incentive, or image as an incentive to get you to pay the additional $20. It's supposed to entice you to pay that $20. But that 15,000 VC can't even get you a pair of Crocs. These are reality. Somebody needs to clip that and share that. That's the reality, man. What if I was to hover their poster showing that 15K? What if I was to say, yeah, and that doesn't even get you a pair of Crocs? I think 2K would feel embarrassed. Like, wow, we can't even give the Hall of Fame pass members a pair of Crocs. Now, to be fair, Tyran General, appreciate the super chat. I'm going to read it in just a second. To be fair, I want to make it clear that you are going to have the ability to earn 45K just through the season track. So you do end up, after the season is done, you do end up with about 60K. That's just to be clear here. But what I'm getting at is in the advertisement, they showcase that 15K as if it's supposed to mean something. The real players, and this kind of lets us know how small the real player base is. The veteran player base is, how small we are, because they just threw that on there. And I think every one of us was like, what the hell is 15K going to do for us? But the casual, the dudes who got that joint at Christmas, they just see 15,000. They don't know what value that has. It just sounds like a lot. Do you get that? And that's what 2K banks on. That's why the player base was so incredibly larger in 2K23. Some things to consider, man. It's crazy stuff. I hate that we even have to. If y'all enjoy this stuff, y'all let me know. If you know what, let's get a quick survey. Do you like this type of live stream with me just getting on, talking with y'all? Put a 1 in the chat if this is down your alley. I see a lot of people in here, but if this is down your alley and you want more of this is what we'll do. We're going to mix it up for 2K24, especially. And I don't normally do live streams like this, so it's a fairly new process. But yeah, type 1 if there's some that you want to stay more closer connected to. Yeah, let me know what it is. Pay Seasons is 2K's greatest addition. And keep it a buck. Type a 2 if you don't. Type a 2 if you don't want this. Sorry. All right, we got a bunch of 1s. Salute to y'all, man. Salute to y'all. That's pretty dope. That's just pretty dope. It'll be imperative, STT Podcast. Or one, salute to y'all. That joint is humbling, bro. Seeing stuff like that is humbling, man. Because I know a lot of creators want that. If you're a creator, the folks that are watching you, you want them to understand your content, connect with you. But when that joint is reciprocated from the creator, like I do these live streams so I could connect with y'all. When it's reciprocated, I think that's when you kind of gain a connection with the viewership. And I think that's what I wish more content creators understood that. That's where the connection happens. You see how we don't got a connection with 2K like that? Or that connection gets swiped from us? Like we got Mike Wang right now, but he's finna dip in 2 weeks. Maybe not 2 weeks. That's probably exaggerating. But we already know Mike Wang goes into Hypernation, and that's it. He's going on working on the next installment of the game. Understandable, but we don't have that connection. So we're left to think the things that we think. I will definitely watch your grind. Your player, appreciate it. My review shorts. What's up, Amanda? What's going on? This is needed. Too many yes men. And what I like most is the transparency and the professionalism and how you present the information. Don't ever step off this square. That almost made my hair stand up. Salute to you, CJ. Appreciate you saying that. Salute for all the 1s as well. The folks who even took the time to put a 1. It's just dope. Listen, we have a huge goal. I need to put this out there because I want to see them triple digits for this cycle. We have a huge goal to hit 100K this year. So if you haven't subscribed yet and you like this type of content, consider subscribing because we're going to be doing this quite often. You could definitely help us hit that 100K. Help put that plaque. I'm going to put it right on that wall there. So help get that plaque on that wall. Definitely appreciate it. Drop that sub, the notification to come up. If I was the dev, after I uploaded 2K24, I'm going to go and make 2K25 right away. Makes sense. Now, I've been watching you for a while. Kind of upset you and Brute didn't continue the vids you guys were creating together. You never know what comes in the future. That's what happens with long standing creators. I'm working on a no money build in 23 right now. They got me for $1,250 last year, $1,100 in 22 for no fun. It's going to have to make sense. Black ice. But the build costs have to be extremely lowered. And I think, yeah, a lot of people feel like this. It's like 2K, make a compromise. I think that's what a lot of people are thinking. 2K, can we get some sort of compromise? And this is what served as the catalyst. This and a couple other factors served as the catalyst toward me making this decision. Because it was just a few days ago that I'm like, I'm finna spend if the game is dope. So I saw that dollar figure and I said, whoa, hell no, because I was ready to go win again. 2K was about to get me for more than what they got me this year. If they did execute everything that they said they're going to execute, I said, it's GG. I know I can't control myself. So I felt like that was going to happen. And when I started noticing the amount of money I spent, how other folks are laughing at us, learning about us leading the way in the gaming industry, which is going to in turn make other games more expensive, trickle down effect. I said, there has to be documentation, B. It has to happen. Otherwise, we go another 5 years. And then that's when folks want to start a 5 year process of documenting. Do you get what I'm saying? Because I don't expect it to be all like us learn everything this whole year. I expect this to be a stepping stone, and then somebody else takes the baton and they go and do their research accompanied by my research. And then they boom, because now they have a jumping start. So it makes it a lot easier for them to do the research the next year because they've already seen this and that. All they got to do is cross reference and make sure that what I write is actually what they're experiencing as well. And it makes the process that much easier, which allows them to explore more and find out even more new things. So, the process takes a good amount of time. And if we start it now, instead of waiting even more time, then maybe in 5 years, there'll be some type of impact. Jay-Z made a good point, y'all. Jay-Z said that if we think about a game like Gran Turismo, I know a lot of people in here follow Jay-Z as well, but if we think about a game like Gran Turismo, and please hear me out, don't get turned off by this statement. And just because I mentioned Gran Turismo, folks are like, I'm out of here. I thought this was 2K. Nah, it's relative. Because I was playing Gran Turismo when it was released. And what happened with Gran Turismo is that they tried a slick way to get money, but the community stepped up and they changed it instantly. And what I'm saying is that we could make that happen as well. But it's going to be a process and there's going to be steps to it. It's like levels to this because you're dealing with a big dog. And ain't no little bark gonna make a big dog budge. I would have been surprised if 2K make the rep grind like 19 and you'll have no other choice but to buy the BP because you will not get rewarded by rep level up. Interesting. Subscribe, but you got to take your glizzy hats off. For 2K24, you're also going to have the option to pursue like your grind without having to do the story. So, like in 2K23, you're trying to just get to your next NBA game so you can grind it out, but you got to do a side mission. Well, that's no longer going to be the case in 2K24. So that's a dub. Drill Jackson said, do you think they're going to let the W come to the wreck? I was looking for indicators to see if there was any indicator in the trailer. And I kind of noticed one slight thing, but I didn't want to harp on it. I don't want to jump on it and kind of boost this thing out of proportion. But I wouldn't be surprised if something like that happened. I don't think we're there yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if I saw it. Turismo has other car games. There's no other basketball game. Facts. Yeah, no, there's facts. This is absolute facts. And I was trying to explain that as well, because you made a good point. I was trying to explain that as well. This is why this type of challenge is much more difficult, because there is no competitor. So in other words, for a racing game, which has a lot of competitors, they have to be inclined to keep the player base happy, because if the player base turns to a competitor, they just lose that player base. The competitor has options. I mean, the player base has options. And that's the obvious thing. We get it. The player base has options, but it's how the company reacts when the player base speaks up. And that's primarily due to, like the homie said, that's because the player base has options. They could easily choose to leave. And the company is definitely not going to want that. So 2K is not presented with that. So there's a very different type of challenge. The 2K doesn't have to worry about that. But, it is what it is. That's the reality we're in. So how do you, because we're good at stating the obvious. We've been doing it for years. Where do we go next? It's cool, and I get it, because everybody's just like, yeah, or they hear somebody say that, and they're like, yeah. All right, so now what? So Jay-Z made a great point that day one, or at least within the first week, at the very least, and you guys will know, because I'm gonna make a I'm not going to make the actual build at that, like upgrading him, but I am going to find out how much it costs to increase your build to max potential. And then we're going to make the comparison between 2K23 and 2K24. So what I'm saying here, you guys are going to have that video day one. For me, if you find that microtransactions are, again, they've been, the cost has been increased and they're getting more aggressive, within the first week, go to Metacritic and leave your review. Because it was Metacritic that helped Gran Turismo get changed. They had like a 1 on Metacritic. So that's an option that we can pursue, or sites like this that we can pursue, Metacritic in particular. But yeah, if we do something like that, which I'm going to encourage you guys to do that. I'll remind you guys, like on that day one video, I'll remind you. Just share your experience. And this is not to go bad. I'm not saying go talk crap about 2K. I'm saying share your experience on Metacritic, whether it's good or bad. If it's good, share it. If it's a W, share it. This is good for everybody to have that type of knowledge. If it's bad or you feel something could be fixed, share that as well. Leave that star so they can get a number. And then folks that are more like closely tied to the higher ups, because news like that will probably get to somebody in the higher ups. Let's say 2K has a 1, or they on multiple different review sites, they get a 1. IGN rates them a 1. That information gets to the higher ups, and that's when they're like, hold on. You know, they only see in the bottom lines. They're just like, hold on, reset everything, fix that, add that, give them this. So maybe the first week, that's what we do. And I'll remind you guys, go to Metacritic. I'll walk you through the process, leave a review, whether it's good or bad, and we see what the number turns out to be. And if it's good, I'm going to leave a good review. Let's say the game is amazing, but it's microtransactions. Let's say it's best out of 5. I'll probably give it a 2 instead of a 0. I'll probably give it a 2 or a 3. You know, so something to consider. I appreciate you joining as a member, LJBK 827. Appreciate that. If you guys would like to be a member, all you need to do is type !join. And the link will pop up. You can become a member right now. You get a badge by your name. Question: if you a center and steals are linked to blocks with the adrenaline bars, do you think people just gonna have no steal? No, I don't see that happening. There's a year they're talking heavily about defense, so I think you're gonna see lockdowns ASAP. They're gonna put that defense to the test. Folks are kind of hyped about defense this year. So I don't think you're going to see them unless it's noticeable that 2K is just messing with the sliders. I could see them going away from a lockdown, but it's looking like this is going to be the battle of the Titans type of year. It's going to be good defense and good offense. At least that's what it sounds like. And I could see them doing that. All I know is I'm making a lock with a 99 steal. There you go, Logan Hubbard. Just to answer your question, he's making a lock with a 99 steal. The block steal adrenaline system sounds the same. Yeah, there's nothing different here, y'all. Lucky Spumoni. Yeah, they I don't think there's anything different here. Frank Dan, you joined as a member. Appreciate you, brother. But yeah, I don't think there's anything different. I think it's going to be very similar to what we've been experiencing as far as like defensive adrenaline. If I can, for sure, finna have a locky. Stephen Wolf said it. Yeah, a lot of people are leaning towards the lock this year. I don't think, well, with this process, I know I can't make a lock. So I'm leaning towards like a wing type of player with this process. I might start with a wing, somebody that could get, like, especially if there's a grind to legend and it's covered by my points. A wing, I think, is a good player. A corner shooter, could drive, could get some boards so you could get rep through boards, outlet passes, things like that, steals. So you get a little bit of everything. Team Mugen said, Gran Turismo looks out for their consumers. Their server was tripping. Gave me 1 million VC. Yeah, I heard of that. Salute to you for saying that. But yeah, This is facts. And that was heavily due to what ended up happening with how the community ended up rising up. So that's part of that process. These are the type of things that come with that process when you have competitors within your field. So I think there was a big reason. Like I said, I don't think this is a matter of coincidence. I think this is by design so that they could be in this position. They don't have to really fully consider in regards to finances. Gameplay, I understand. The 2K development team, they really care. They really work hard. But it's unfortunate that the business side is definitely seeping into affecting and influencing gameplay development. And I'm hoping that there's no denial of that by the developers. I imagine that they understand this, especially if they're veterans playing the game themselves, because that's easy to see. Just facts. 2K18, I didn't spend no money on boosts, didn't need to. Could play the whole year and have a tremendous, not 2K18, I can't reference 2K18 as the fun, but let's go to 2K19, play the whole year, no problem. No money. Very little money at the very least. To now, without even realizing, I spent a rack. There ain't no way that the business side of 2K hasn't seeped in to gameplay development. Impossible. Salute to you as well, Craven. All right, Zeus. Too many cheaters. It's not, it's not cheating. I was having this, me and Anonymous 2K were in disagreement in yesterday's Twitter space. And I know this will create some dialogue here in the stream. We were in disagreement because he feels that the community should be blamed as well. And it's hard for me to digest that. I can't blame the player who only has a controller in his hand. The argument was that we make builds that break the game. No. And my argument was the game was broken. The player just exposed the broken mechanic. And the player, I can't tell a player how, when, where to play his game. He paid for it. That's his now. So he could spend as much time trying to figure out the most broken build if he wanted to. And if he finds it, he was successful. But what I'm saying is he wouldn't have been able to find it if that product wasn't delivered with it already in there. That was my biggest argument. So it's hard for me to say it's the player base. We know that there's going to be trolls. We know that there's players who kind of ruin the experience for other players. But we both paid the $70. So if he finds enjoyment for ruining if his way to enjoy 2K is to ruin the experience for everybody else, who am I to say, we could speak from a more, like the homie Big Hex said yesterday, it's a matter of sportsmanship. And we could speak from that perspective. Surely I'll be in complete agreement. You got no sportsmanship, brother, type of thing. But when I'm thinking of like the business side of things, well, he paid. He's a customer. He wouldn't be able to do that if 2K didn't let it in the game. So, it's a debate that I think that will help spark some dialogue in here. I can't agree with that. Once the game's released, there's nothing Des can do but update the game. Right. And what I'm getting at, all right, now don't get me wrong. Let me clear this up. If this was a game that had been in development by a small team and has only been out for 2 years, I understand the argument of saying, well, we're in the process. Of course, the player base, it takes time. It takes time for us to figure out all these little things that the player base could do. And I'm saying 2K has well over 2 decades. They're extremely successful. So now they're not financially dependent for nothing. So they have endless amounts of finances with endless amounts of engineers to make this game amazing. Surely they can't cover every single base. And in comparison, like J-Riz Twin said yesterday, in comparison to the player base, the people who creates a 2K are small. So it's inevitable that the player base is going to find something to exploit about the game. And this happens, it's facts that it happens in all gaming. So we're probably always going to experience that. But how do we blame the player is what I'm getting at. The product is faulty is what I'm getting at. And I'm not saying, I would hope that the devs feel that way as well, is what I'm getting at. I know if I was a creator, I was a dev, and this is the product that I put in the hands and all they got is a controller, I imagine that I would feel right. Yeah, the product is faulty, but we're working on it. What do you want us to do? No, I don't want you to do nothing. But the fact is, the product is faulty, right? Yeah, right. The product is faulty. Facts. They figured it out, so it's got to be a problem with it. LJ with the $5 super chat. Even WWE 2K23 is starting to become pay to play with their live events on My Faction, aka My Team. Yeah, I don't know nothing. I've never played WWE, so yeah, I don't know. I imagine any line 2K, and that's what I wish we would see. And this is why this is like a pivotal moment, yeah. Because that's exactly what I'm getting at. You see how 2K now drops actual games. They get the golf game, they get the WWE. Not that they're doing it now. I just mean to say the way in which they're practicing they're having the same practices in these games. Because the formula proved to work. So being that the formula has proven to work, of course, they're going to apply that to other ventures, other gaming developers. Well, other gaming developments. And what I'm getting at is that other titles, other gaming developers are going to come in and see that level of success and attempt to emulate that at our expense. And the reason why it's at our expense is because we're leading the way as a 2K player, giving 2K that money. The reason why I say that is because it's the sports gaming part of the gaming industry that spends the good majority of money in microtransactions. This happens in other areas as well, but sports gaming is helping to lead the way. We live in our own little bubble, like the whole homie Osmond Go was trying to explain. We out here living in our own little bubble. We don't see nothing else. We just want to play sports gaming. And like Heck had mentioned, All City Big Heck mentioned, it's kind of some psychological effect that they're playing on our competitive sports, our sports competitive nature. Definitely things to consider. I spend 100, want the most for my 100. Facts. There was always a glitch or exploit. We want defense and we got it. Someone gonna complain. Casuals versus cheesers. Yeah, see, when we're talking about gameplay is facts. We're always gonna complain. Yeah, talking about gameplay is just always gonna be the case. And I think 2K has known that, so it's up to 2K to take a stand like I think they're doing. And they're saying, well, this is what it's going to be. Oh, from 2K21 to up until now, 2K23, you see that the game's direction, we didn't know where it was going to head. We can't say 21 is different from 22, 22 is different from 23. We don't know which way they were going to go. But 24 seems like it's going to be that point, similar to 2K20. Like, there's the stand we're taking, or 2K19 started the stand, and then 20 followed right after. So I think we're going to have one of those years where, all right, this is the stand. This is going to be one of the staples. Defense is going to be nerfed a month after release. Then we're all going to be on Spider-Man or Call of Duty. I can see that happening. Have you noticed that 92 don't start till 11 p.m.? Oh, I didn't even know that was you're talking about like a 92 and under thing. Yeah, I didn't even know. We were talking about it throughout the year. Like, is that even a thing this year? What I mean is, as a center, your job is to protect the paint. But if you spam, once you're already 20% down, both steal and block, it'll make sense for a center to put steals to their build. But the problem is that 2K makes it so that centers can't have a high steal. I always put steal on my center. I try to put steal on my center build. So I like to play the passing lane as a center because folks, we play some of these brain dead players just dead stay under the rim the whole game. And you're like, you can't really be playing like this. And sure enough, they are playing like that. So I like to just let them stay under there so the player will be inclined to pass and I get the steal. What they're talking about in regards to defense, and we could speculate in regards to the 20% reduction to the 40% reduction on the second bar and the 75% reduction on the third bar. A lot of this stuff is going to be determined by how well hands up defense works in 2K. It was damn near irrelevant, and it was weird because one play is relevant, next play or next 10 plays is not relevant, and then it somehow comes through in a clutch situation. So it was so weird. But I would say overall, hands up defense was trashy on 23. And that needs to be tremendously improved if you're going to penalize us for an attempt. If you're trying to get us to stay disciplined, which is hands up defense, and you're going to penalize us for making an attempt, then hands up defense needs to be effective. Otherwise, damn near almost everything collapses. See how one little area of the game could kind of ruin the whole experience overall, because that generates a rim run. And that generates a whole new area of the game and kind of just announces itself. I don't know what's 2K's problem with interior defense, but they definitely got to put that joint up for consideration. I will say that Mike Wang did send out a tweet saying that interior defense is probably the most improved aspects of the game. It's a sign to consider. Let me see. I can't see his name. I'll just call you Flu. Appreciate you spreading awareness about the business practices and standing up for the players. Salute to you for the $5 super chat. Really appreciate that, man. This is dope, man. This is so dope. I love that you guys even considered the idea of just kind of showing that support through a super chat. It means a lot. I love the gesture. So thank you for making that happen. I would like to mention as well that if you haven't subscribed yet, please help get us to 100K this year. I have a goal and I want to make that happen. We will be doing this every day, so a good few times a week at the very least. Yeah, 92 is a thing. That's how I grind my bills out when I got at least 200,000 from using. Oh, interesting. Antonio Camacho, hands up defense was extremely inconsistent. Facts, to say the least. To say the least, right? They need to add new head models, pause, and hairstyles too. It's trifling on 2K. Yeah, I wish they did. I wish they did as well, especially when you see an NBA player with a hairstyle and you're like, damn, what would it have taken to just add that joint to the list of hairstyles for us? Do you think this properly can work on older real games like back in the 90s? Do you mean like, I'm not sure what you're referring to. Oh, pro play, I got you. Pro play could work. I don't know. I'd probably say nah. I probably lean towards the idea that we needed the next gen console for pro play to work for them. This probably just has to do with the technology and what they're using to scan and then deliver it. I imagine it takes much larger capacity, which is why it's better for they have much more data that they could put on a next gen game versus a current gen, from what I understand. So I imagine getting all that additional data, like all these additional animations, it just makes the game larger. Wait until we get the file size. That's going to be interesting. What's the file? I don't know. Nobody talked about that. What's going to be the file size with Pro Play now incorporated into the game? I imagine that that Pro Play is going to increase the file size. A late jump shot release go in. The dunk meter was so forgiving, and it's supposed to be more taxing this year. It's green or miss for your dunk meter. It uses a special camera, so they can't even take old footage. Interesting. They already confirmed that Pro Play IRL cameras are recent. Won't do anything for retired players. Oh, interesting. I miss when 2K was a disruptor and beat out EA. Once they got the market share, they got exploitative, just like EA. The nature is like, and there's facts. I don't expect 2K the business to care. I don't expect damn near any business to care. I think we naturally kind of feel like that when a company gets too large. It's a matter of what we do as a consumer will determine whether or not they care. At least that's been my experience. I'm not trying to put that on y'all. If it hasn't been your experience, so be it. But I live that way. I don't expect them to care. And if I want them to care, then I got to make my voice heard. How do I make my voice heard? I feel like, yeah, if they're gonna corner the market, then of course they're gonna get at the masses. How do we justify that this predatory behavior is what I'm getting at? What routes do we take to justify that it's predatory behavior? What are they preying on? How are they preying on folks? Where does it come from? I'm telling you, I'm sure if we gather this psychological stuff and get the information on that, maybe we need to get some doctors in on it. I know nobody's thought of that. And I think we could get some doctors in on it. Yeah, because I think when we get those type of answers, like I said, this also was sparked by the idea that I spent that much money, and that's not how I live my life. Not knowing that I spent that, I said, nah, that's not me. What the hell type of hold, weird voodoo magic they put on me? That's what I kind of felt. Like, no way. So we'll see where we go with that. On that note, y'all, I appreciate y'all. We are an hour and a half in. We do this every day, so y'all can come back and tune in tomorrow. I'm wishing you all a safe and blessed rest of your night. If you guys are looking for players to run with, come on out and join our Discord. Start getting to know folks now so you can just get a running start for 2K24. Our Discord is non-toxic. And there's just a lot of good people in there, good vibes. Just type ! Discord. The link will come up and you can join. Salute to y'all, man. Hoping you have a great start to your week.